back, Irish fans, to Breaking and Braves Boys podcast. This is a good time in the season to kind of take a look at the big picture of things, and Notre Dame has a few days off, so I figured this would be a really good time to talk Notre Dame's resume, kind of where they stand in terms of NCAA tournament hopes, their future opportunities, and kind of just what I think about their tournament hopes in general. So going to dive deep into their case to be in the tournament, the case against them, and how they're set up to kind of make a run in the next few weeks. So Notre Dame's 10-6 in terms of NCAA tournament games that would count. Chaminade doesn't count because they're a D2 team. Notre Dame is 4-2 in the league. Would have really helped if they beat VT, and we're 5-1 with 2 quad ones. But as of now, they only have 1 quad one, which is Kentucky, and they have losses to Illinois, St. Mary's, Indiana, Virginia Tech. But Notre Dame still sits within the top 5 of the ACC. They're 80th in the net. That's really got to get up there if they're going to win, and they certainly have opportunities to do that over the next few weeks. They're going to play Louisville. I'll explain the quad system briefly. Quad 1 is win against teams ranked 1 through 30 in the net at home, wins against 1 through 50 on a neutral, and then 1 through 75 at their home court. So quad 1s are what you really want. That's the big one, obviously. Quad 2s are a step behind, but still good wins. Quad 3 is games you should win, and then quad 4 is essentially bye games. So Notre Dame has a quad 3 on Saturday at Louisville, borderline quad 2. NC State is a quad 3. UVA is a quad 2. Duke's a quad 1. At Miami is a quad 1. NC State is a quad 2. Louisville's a quad 3. At Clemson's a quad 2. Maybe somehow it becomes a borderline quad 1 by the time they get there. BC's a quad 3. Wake Forest a quad 1. Q's a quad 3. GT's a quad 3. At FSU's a quad 1, and they showed why a few days ago against Duke. That was unbelievable performance, and just shows what a Leonard Hamilton team is at its core. Just length, athleticism, switching, and then we'll get by on offense. Notre Dame, I don't think, is super well equipped to handle that, but they did it last year, and they'll have an opportunity to do it again this year, this time on the road. Pitt is a quad 4, and that's where they'll end their regular season. They'll certainly have opportunities in Brooklyn and the ACC tournament as well. But for now, they're 1-4 in quad 1, win against Kentucky. Quad 2, UNC is the win, 1-1. UNC has an outside chance to get in quad 1. That chance looked a lot better before they got ran out of the gym by Miami. But hey, UNC is UNC, and if they can pick up a few big wins, which they're certainly capable of, they could maybe sneak into quad 1. I'm not super optimistic about that, though. Their loss in quad 2 is Texas A&M. Quad 3, like I said, games they should win: Clemson, GT, Pitt, Howard. The loss they have is BC, and that really kills their resume. Almost cancels out that Kentucky win, just because, I mean, Boston College is not a team that you should be losing to. Although it was on their home court, it's not a team you should be losing to. And if they don't make the tournament, what's really going to show in that is their poor week in Vegas for the Maui Invitational and the loss of BC. That's where it's really going to kill their resume if they can't get in. And then quad 4, Cal State, Northridge, High Point, Western Michigan, and Corpus Christi. Games they should have won and did win. So I think to get into the tournament, Notre Dame's got to finish top 5 in the league. ACC is probably going to get 4 to 5 bids. They've really helped themselves in the last few weeks. Wake's playing really well. Miami got that big win at Duke and is playing well. Duke is Duke. UNC could be closer to the bubble now. For those first 3 teams that I said, Wake, Miami, and Duke, I think are all essentially locks. And then the 4th and 5th spot are wide open. And they could get 4 depending on who that 5th team is. But I'd say right now UNC, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, and NC State, teams like that, teams in that wheelhouse. UVA, I didn't really mean to say NC State, I meant to say UVA, but teams like that are teams that are kind of gonna be all in the same tier. That's like a mess right now, but we'll start to see some definition in that towards the end of the year And if Notre Dame can go on this stretch with big games like Louisville, Duke, Miami, Wake, they could really take advantage of kind of that cluster in the middle of the league and rise to the top of it. Kentucky is really going to help them there. That was the second best win in the non-conference by any ACC team. And then you got a UNC win. If you can pick up one or two more quad ones the rest of ACC play and then beat the teams in your wheelhouse, you're golden. So what I like about Notre Dame's resume this year is that if you look back in past years, like the year that Mooney and Gibbs and Rex senior year, where they were somewhat on the bubble but needed a lot to happen for them, they won pretty much all those games in their wheelhouse. They didn't beat a ranked team. I don't think they had a quad one. And their resume wasn't all that strong just because they didn't have a big win. This year they have that win, and they have a bunch more opportunities to get it. So to me, they got to get 8, 9, or 10 of the remaining 14 games left. 10 gets them to 20 D1 wins. And then keep in mind they have the ACC tournament as well. I think that gets them in the ballpark of 12, 13, 14 league wins. 12 gets them in conversations. 13, I think, gets them on the bubble. Need some things to happen for you. And 14 league wins, I think you're golden. So at least depending on who those wins are, like if you have a Duke and a Miami win in there with 14 or 13 wins, you're in. But if you don't, and you're just beating teams in your wheelhouse, and then you have Kentucky to cling on to, then maybe things are a little different. But if Notre Dame can get one or two more big wins, they have a huge opportunity to make the tournament. And I think I'm a little more optimistic about their hopes than a lot of the fan bases, just because in past years they hadn't set themselves up to really make runs at the end of ACC play. Like the year Mooney was a senior, they could have won out with like a month left and got in, but they didn't really put themselves in a great spot just because they didn't have any big wins. They hadn't really done all that much in conference play early. This year, though, they've done some damage already. Even though they've lost games like VT, they beat UNC. They already have 4 conference wins. 2 of them on the road. And now they got a lot more opportunities to beat up on teams that are sort of in their wheelhouse. I think they're a lot better than some of these teams, Louisville in particular, who is playing better as of late. BC is another one of those teams, but Louisville's playing better. Had a solid game against BC, but man, they've been a disaster at times this year, and Notre Dame should beat them. If they can't, I'll be a little less optimistic about their odds. But Notre Dame's put themselves in a spot where they can make a run, and they're in a position that if they can make a run, they're in. But now they just got to do it. They got to beat up on the teams that are in their tier. They got to go steal one on the road against a Wake Forest, a FSU, Miami. Hopefully a Clemson could do that for them. NC State, maybe. I doubt it, but they don't have all that many road games left, which is a little concerning. I wish they had a little bit more just so they could steal some opportunities to get quad ones against teams that aren't all that great. I mean, Miami's a good team. Wake's a good team, but certainly not unbeatable like Duke. That's going to make me look stupid in a few weeks if they beat Duke, but I think we can all agree there's an outside chance of that happening. So I just would like to end it off with their hopes are not dead. The VT loss did not kill their hopes. That's a quad one loss. It doesn't look bad for them. It certainly would have helped them, but they have everything right in front of them. Now they just got to go take it. And that's been the issue with this group for the last few years. They haven't taken it when things are on the table for them to make a run. And if they can do that this year with the emergence of Paul Atkinson, Dane Goodwin, and Blake Wesley, then they're in the tournament. And those guys are really going to have to step up here because their other guys haven't all that much throughout the year, basically. And they're going to have to get this team a little bit of a different mentality heading into the stretch than they've had in the past few years if they're going to pull it off one game at a time. And if they can do that, and they can beat some of these teams like UVA, NC State, Louisville, Miami, then they're in the tournament. And I'd also like to say that if they lose one or two of these games, it's not the end of the world. That seems to be the theme. Every game is the end of the world the last few weeks, and it's just not. They're not in the tournament because they beat Georgia Tech. They're not in the tournament because they lost to Virginia Tech. I think the biggest games that they've lost so far would be St. Mary's, Texas A&M, and Boston College. But that certainly killed their resume. But they have opportunities now to go make something happen, and they stay alive Monday. Let's see if they can stay alive through the rest of conference play and give themselves a fighting shot going into Greensboro and Selection Sunday. So thank you guys for watching. Support lately has been pretty good, so appreciate that. And I'll be back on Saturday for the Louisville recap. Thank you guys for watching. Go Irish, and peace.